Good evening. Good evening to the citizens of Douglas County and to the Board of Commissioners. Welcome to our Tuesday, September 20th, 2022, Douglas County Board of Commissioners Legislative Voting Meeting. I shall call this meeting to order, and I will start with roll call. District 1 Commissioner Henry Mitchell III.
Present.
District 2 Commissioner and Vice Chairman Kelly Robinson.
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Terenia Carthen.
Present.
District 4 Commissioner Ann Jones-Guyder.
Present.
Chairman Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones present. Board of Commissioners, we do have an established quorum. We're going to move right into tonight, Board of Commissioners, our invocation. And then after our invocation, I will ask that everyone remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. We have with us tonight, Board of Commissioners, here with our invocation, Mr. Minister, Pastor Brandon Penniman here tonight to render our invocation. Would you please come forth? And certainly, Mr. Penniman, you have the floor. And I ask if all of us could stand in the building and please remain standing for the pledge to the flag as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Thank you guys for this moment. And at this time, let's take it to our Father God. I'd like to open with a quick scripture from Philippians chapter 2, verses 2, 3, 4, and 5. It says, "Then be agreeing and wholehearted with each other, loving one another, and working together with one mind and purpose. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others, yet be humble, thinking of others as better than yourself. Do not look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too. You must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had." Father God, we come to you today just asking that you would bless this meeting, that you would continue to keep a watchful eye over our community, over our world, over Douglas County as a whole. God, we pray today that you would continue to lead and guide our commissioners and all of the staff of our county as they make pivotal decisions on behalf of all of us as citizens. God, we pray right now that the fruit of your Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, long-suffering, and self-control, will consume our county and consume all of our leaders. That they wouldn't think of themselves, but they would think of the interests of those who they represent. God, continue to bless Douglas County. Allow us to be a flourishing, safe, enjoyable, free community that continues to honor you through the way that we live, the way that we speak, and the things that we do on a daily basis. God, we love you, we praise you, and we put you before all things. In the name of the Most High God, we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Pastor Penniman, because I know you're a youth pastor at your church, so I'm going to certainly acknowledge you in the correct way tonight. So thank you for gracing and Douglas County with your prayers. And this is the day the Lord has made, and thank you for just bringing that prayer. And I know that it will resonate all over this county. Clerk, do we have anyone to sign up for public comment tonight?
Yes, ma'am. We have Carol Newburn signed up this evening.
Okay. Miss Newborn, Carol. We have Miss Carol Newborn here. Do we have Miss Carol Newborn in the audience? You signed up to speak tonight. You could come up. Sure, please. And when you come up, if you could just state your name and give us your address, Miss Newborn.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. My name is Carol Newborn, and I live at 9448 Cedar Creek Place in Douglasville. And what I'm here tonight is because I feel like that as taxpayers, we trust you to be good stewards with our money, which is also known as taxes, which is what you spend. And sometimes with the spending that's going on, y'all have to understand why we question what you spend money on. Function of this government up here is to run the county. It's not to have luxury stuff. And I feel like a lot of the things that we have in addition is what's causing our taxes to go up. These taxes are hurting a lot of people. And I know y'all balance the budget, and there was a misunderstanding last time I was here about that, but you do so at a 27 to whatever % increase in our taxes. You guys have got to do better with our money. And the reason I came tonight, and every time I hear of these things, I'm going to come and I'm going to question them. And I'm going to let you know how I feel, because it is stated on social media that our coroner has got to have a new building, and there she's wanting one to the tune of $3 million. We cannot afford luxury. The people in this county that pay for that building cannot afford luxury. She needs to have the basics. She needs to have whatever bare minimum she needs, because we've got to get back to fixing the roads and quit building parks and quit building libraries. We've got to get back to tending to our government, what the government was intended to do. All these other things are unnecessary. And I'm asking you to be good stewards with our money and making sure that these things are not luxury items, luxury things, because we can't afford it. I actually physically know 2 people, they're elderly people, that are on fixed incomes because of these tax hikes are probably going to lose their house. And I'm telling you, I'm sure they're not the only 2 in this county. But these higher taxes, and we've got to do a better job of balancing our budget without raising taxes. You've got to figure out what to cut. I felt like last time I was up here, I was called uneducated and made to feel like I was ignorant. But I know business, and I know how it runs. But I know you can balance a budget, and if you have to cut, you have to cut. I just never see the cutting. I never hear you cutting anything. You never say you're cutting anything. All I hear is give me, give me, give me. And I'm telling you, you're biting the hand that's feeding you, because the hand that's feeding you is almost out of money. There's a lot of people in this county that you're really hurting. So we need to make sure that things like the coroner's building or whatever she gets, that it's what she needs. It's not luxury stuff, because $3 million for a building, to me, on land that we already own, is a little ridiculous in my book, and I just wanted to state that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carol Newborn. We will take this matter under advisement. Appreciate you coming in tonight. All right, clerk, anyone else sign up?
We didn't have anyone else sign in, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you again, Ms. Newborn. All right, we're going to move Board of Commissioners to approval of our minutes. We have the commission meeting minutes of September 6, 2022, the work session minutes of September 1st, 2022, the executive session minutes of September 1st, 2022. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections that need to be made, Board?
No, ma'am.
Being none, the minutes stand approved. Board of Commissioners, we have 2 proclamations tonight. One, tab number 4, is proclaiming September 22nd, 2022 as American Business Women's Day in Douglas County. We have Vonda Thorpe here with some of the women from the ABWD, which is the American Business Women's organization here today. And Vonda Thorpe will be reading, Mrs. Thorpe will be reading the proclamation and bringing it before us.
Madam Chair, just point of order before she reads the proclamation.
Yes.
If I would. I just want to make a quick statement about, first of all, to these women, strong women in Douglas County, I want to just say to you, thank you for allowing us to present a proclamation on our behalf to you on what you guys do and all the great things that you guys do in the community. And I'm just so proud to have been just a part of this and presenting this proclamation. So I just wanted you guys, you ladies, to know thank you and continue what you guys are doing and the great works that you guys are doing. this proclamation only just a drop in the bucket as to what you guys are doing and how well you guys are doing it. So congratulations for allowing us to present to you this proclamation as your day. So thank you again. Job well done. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I yield.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. You have the floor. Ms. Thorpe.
All right, and thank you for this honor. We appreciate it. Okay, proclamation, Douglas County Board of Commissioners, American Business Women's Day. Whereas the American Business Women's Association, ABWA, was founded in Kansas City, Missouri on September 22nd, 1949, and will be commemorating its 73rd anniversary in 2022. And whereas the ABWA mission statement is to bring together businesswomen of diverse occupations to help themselves and others grow personally and professionally through leadership, education, networking, support, and national recognition, and has dedicated itself to more than 500,000 women. And whereas ABWA recognizes the important contributions made to this country by more than 6.5 million American women, working women, and 13.6 million women-owned and equally owned companies. And whereas ABWA's National Scholarship Trust, the Stephen Buffington Memorial Education Fund, SBMEF, has contributed more than 17 million in college scholarships, grants, and loans to more than 16,000 women since its inception in 1953. And whereas the Douglas County Board of Commissioners are pleased to congratulate and support ABWA as they provide innovating learning opportunities that will prepare the businesswomen of today to respond to challenges they may experience in the business sector tomorrow. The American Business Women's Association has fulfilled several accomplishments in its 73 years of service, so this is a momentous occasion. And whereas the ABWA Douglas County Charter Chapter is recognized as a 2021-2022 Level 2 Best Practices in League Management Chapter, and whereas the American Business Women's Association, ABWA, will be commemorating its 73rd anniversary at the 2022 ABWA's National Women's Leadership Conference, which will be held in person on September 8th through the 10th, 2022 in Westminster, Colorado. Now, therefore, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize the many contributions women make in the marketplace by declaring September 22nd, 2022, American Business Women's Day in Douglas County. So proclaimed this 20th day of September 2022.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Certainly, let's give them a hand. You can clap. Yes. Thank you so much, Mrs. Thorpe. Certainly, women are paving the way, and I've certainly listened to the mission to bring women together from diverse occupations to make a difference in the lives of others, and you all certainly do that. You're a visible voice in the community. See you on all fronts and all levels all over the county, making the noise that's needed to move this county forward. So this is certainly an honor for the Board of Commissioners, in my opinion. It certainly cannot speak for all the board members, and I know they would echo my comments, but I just want to speak for me today, that I'm just so proud, number one, to be a woman, and number two, just to see all the great things that y'all are doing in the community. Certainly, Board of Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation. Certainly, if you want to say something, or when I call the question, certainly you can chime in at that time. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve the proclamation proclaiming September 22nd, 2022 as American Business Women's Day in Douglas County?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Board of Commissioners, any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, I'd like to.
Commissioner Guider?
I was one of the original members of ABWA, and not only did we enjoy fellowship with one another, but we learned a lot of things about how to dress, what colors were best for us, and all this stuff. And I remember we put on a fashion show. We just had a lot of fun, but they became very good friends of mine, not just acquaintances, and there's a difference. But it just teaches you to be a stronger person. And I appreciate you ladies. And I wish you much more success. I know you're going to be successful, but just keep up the good job. Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so much. And you're always welcome to come back. All the ladies. And we take a few gentlemen as well.
Any
yield back.
other, well, did you yield back?
I yield
Commissioner? Okay. Any other remarks? Commissioner Carthen.
Greetings, ladies. I just wanted to say kudos on being recognized as 2021-2022 Best Second Chapter.
Yes.
That's amazing. That means y'all did some stuff that, you had to go above and beyond to get that recognition. So kudos to you. I know how hard you work. I've been to some of your programs. I've seen you ladies out in the area, and you are always working and always making Douglas County seem really bigger than we are. It's because of women like you. I see Dr. DJ Vonda. Congratulations on opening your store. Yes, kudos to you. I mean, y'all are doing amazing things. And I just want to say bravo. Congratulations. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm a small businesswoman owner as well. And so I know what it takes to do what we do. And you do it beautifully. Thank you for your diversity, and thank you for your voice and your presence in the community. Job well done.
Thank you, thank you.
I yield, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Carthen. Any other remarks, board? Being none? Vice Chairman, you have the floor.
I'll be very quick, I promised. But I have to acknowledge, again, the sentiments, but women, leaders. Can y'all hear me? My mic is on.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yes,
hear.
sir. Okay. Women leaders. It's something I believe in women and leaders. It's important 100%. That's the new era of society. The efficiency in which you think and how you mobilize. Remember back in the day when it was farmers, the guys just sat around and held the guns. It was women that was running society. Pay attention now. Know your history. It was women. And so I appreciate in our American society watching you come of age and in all these different industries and you're synergizing. And I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be nice. We're going to be okay. But y'all got to be there. Get in the room and stay in the room. Just don't be outside. Just don't be ushering. Be in the room and make a difference. That's all I ask. And congratulations where you are. You're already there. And I look forward to the future, you guys. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other remarks? You want to take a minute, Commissioner Mitchell? You want to say?
Oh, I did a minute early.
You got him. You sure? You started off.
Started
You
off.
started off. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes.
Got it. No, these are my girls here.
We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. So congratulations to this on this proclamation.
Thank you.
Proclaiming September 22nd, 2022 as American Business Women's Day. The Board of Commissioners and I will join you down. We're going to come down in front of the dais and take a photograph with you. Again, congratulations, and let's give them a hand once again. The women.
Thank you so much.
3, 2, 1. One more. This way. 3, 2, 1. Two of the cameras. Good work. Good. 3, 2, 1. One more. Good measure on this one. Go. 3, 2, 1. One more.
And now she said, I think I pop mothered me because she was trying to keep the weight off. I said, yeah. She said, yeah. She said, I pop mothered me like, oh. No, no.
Okay, Board of Commissioners, certainly we will resume our meeting at this point, and we'll start with tab number 5, proclaiming the week of September 17th through 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week in Douglas County. And this proclamation will be read by Lisa Meek. Good afternoon, or good evening, Lisa. Do you want to bring everybody up with you? Yes, the more the merrier.
Got a few daughters here.
Yes. Come forth.
I'm trying not to mess up.
Oh, you fine. Okay. You have the floor, Lisa.
Okay, thank you. It's my honor to read this. Okay. Proclamation, Douglas County Board of Commissioners, Constitution Week. Whereas September 17th, 2022 marks the 234th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to rule by law, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through the 23rd, as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, we, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week in Douglas County, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals that the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly, I knew I'd mess up, vigilantly, I can't pronounce it, protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. So proclaimed this 20th day of September 2022.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Meek.
You're welcome.
For reading the proclamation. Certainly, 1787 is a year to remember regarding the framers. And this magnificent document has a patriotic significance that will forever live as long as the Constitution is here, and it's here to stay, and it'll be forever. So thank you for bringing this proclamation before the Board of Commissioners, and certainly, likewise, the President of the United States is recognizing Constitution Week, and I'm just so honored and proud that our Board of Commissioners are doing the same. Board of Commissioners, certainly you've heard the proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So,
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
yes.
Okay, Vice Chairman Robinson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate, the Declaration of Independence is separate from the U.S. Constitution. One was declaring our separation from Britain and obviously the war that was going on and the oppression of the monarchy back then and all those things. So why do we even become a country? It's about freedom. If you really know your history, it's about guns. They want to be armed. First and Second Amendment. They didn't want to be under that monarchy. We really paid attention to what has happened in the past week or so to really dig deep. So to bring this forth, and what I'd like to do is, Sherry Mathis, are you prepared? I'd like you to read the first paragraph of the U.S. Constitution. It's one thing to do this proclamation, but have we read it since 10th grade?
Sure.
Do you even know what's in it? Sherry, are you prepared?
Yes, sir, I'm prepared.
Would you read the first paragraph for us, just for the official record?
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
That's great. Good enough. Liberty, freedom, etc. It goes on, it has articles thereafter, right? The first one is about Congress being established. The legislative body controls America, not the president. Second one deals with the House. Third deals with the Senate. Fourth deals with the elections. Know your history. And so, I take this thing serious. I mean, not only a proclamation, official notice, but then you've got policies and laws and constitutions, and they all go hand in hand. I mean, we are a land of laws. And it's knowing your laws, knowing your rules, knowing your freedom, that we're all free. And I really appreciate the timing of this, just what it means to be an American. And our freedom as individuals to live our lives the way we want to be free, not to be imposed on, not to be extended. Appreciate the tax comments. Understood. That taxation was too hard. Nobody wanted to fund that war. Right? We're talking about the French, in the war over here in Canada. That's what that was about. You got war to the east, France, and then you had England having to come over here and they're trying to take over Canada. You had Prussia still then, Russia on the other side. Right? The French said, okay, we'll contain Quebec. Everything else was Canadian. Pay attention to your history. What America was all about. We live in a great country. And if you think about it, you said 234 years. I said, look at this. This landmass is 234 million years old, this country. Do your work. 234. So think about the time, like, guys, we've only been here a second. The globe itself is 4 billion, but let's just stay with the country that we sit on. It's 234 million years old when it formed, right? So we're talking about 234 years. I mean, my colleague sitting up here has been here almost, a quarter of our county's history. Right? Think about, we've only been here a second of all time, all history. And so to live here in this time, it's a gift. It's a beautiful gift. And to have such a document that, America is perfectly imperfect like we all are. But it's a great country, and it's worth defending. But I appreciate the prayer of the young pastor who, they've got the future, listen to them. No, guys, we can do better. We can't end on that type of note. So I appreciate it, and again, this is so poignant. So I just wanted to make those comments, Madam Chair, that I'm delighted that we made this proclamation, not just going through rote exercises. I take serious my job. I don't just show up for just fashion fair. I show up for real, I really embody it and I believe in it. And so thank you for reading that, and Madam Chair, thank you for allowing me to speak. I yield the floor.
Thank you so much, Vice Chairman Robinson.
Thank you so
Any
much.
other remarks? Okay. No more remarks. Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second on the floor. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to approve the proclamation proclaiming the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week here in Douglas County. So let's give the ladies a hand
Thank
who
you.
brought this forward tonight.
And
Please.
I just wanted to let you know, we were here on September Saturdays. We had so much fun, and we gave out 175 pocket constitutions that day, on Constitution Day.
Thank
So,
you.
thanks, y'all.
Let's give them a hand in the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you.
And then we're going to come down and take a photograph with you, okay? Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, y'all. Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, Board of Commissioners and the citizens of Douglas County, we will resume our meeting, and certainly would like to thank the Mrs. Meeks and the wonderful ladies that joined her tonight with reading the proclamation for the Constitution Week here in Douglas County. We're going to move on, Board of Commissioners. We have a public hearing. The public hearing is tab number 6, public hearing and approval for request from Christopher White for certificate of compliance with the Metropolitan River Protection Act for construction of a single-family residence at 4285 Highway 166, Douglasville, Georgia 30135, located in District 3. We have tonight our manager from Planning and Zoning, Allison Duncan, to brief us and give us an idea of what this public hearing, the purpose of this public hearing. You have the floor,
Great.
Manager Duncan.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Board of Commissioners. This is a public hearing in regard to certificate of appropriateness, or excuse me, certificate of compliance with the Metropolitan River Protection Act. As a reminder, this is a requirement under state law when you are building within 2,000 feet of the Chattahoochee River. The request is for a single-family residence at 4285 Highway 166. The property is 7 acres. It is located in District 3. The engineer for the property is available tonight if you have any questions, but otherwise we are looking to just have the public hearing to satisfy the requirements of the state law, to give the public an opportunity to weigh in. Staff does support the recommendation to approve the certificate of compliance. This has also been reviewed by the Atlanta Regional Commission, which is also required by state law, and their finding is that the project is consistent with the Chattahoochee River Corridor Plan. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you so much, Manager Duncan. Board of Commissioners certainly will not engage in any questions before opening this public hearing. I'll do that first. This public hearing is now open. We have anyone here to speak in favor of this public hearing? Please come forth, as the public hearing is for approval of a request for Christopher White for a certificate of compliance with the Metropolitan River Protection Act. Anyone here to speak in favor? Okay. Do we have anyone here to speak against? Okay. Anyone here, I'm going to repeat it once again, to speak against this public hearing and approval for request for Christopher White for a certificate of compliance with the Metropolitan River Protection Act for construction of a single-family residence? Anyone here to speak against? Being none, this public hearing is now closed. Board of Commissioners, this is your opportunity to weigh in. Certainly, I will call the question, and if you have any remarks. If there are no remarks, I'll call the questions. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve for the approval of request from Christopher White for a certificate of compliance with the Metropolitan River Protection Act for construction of a single-family residence at 4285 Highway 166, Douglasville, Georgia 30135? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Board. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to approve this certificate of compliance with the Metropolitan River Protection Act for the construction of this single-family residence at 4285 Highway 166. We're going to move right into our new business items. We have tab number 7. Tab number 7 is a new business item. Board of Commissioners, please make a note of that. It's approval of a task order number 1 in the amount of $400,000 for a 1-year period to Landmark Consulting LLC for full grants management services of ARPA federal funds to be funded from the ARPA federal funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents subject to final legal review. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board? We have a motion and a
Yeah.
second. Commissioner Guider, I heard you say.
Yes, is Tiffany here?
I'm here, Commissioner
Oh,
Guy.
okay, I'm sorry, I was looking out there. I called Tiffany today because this was not on our work session yesterday. I don't like surprises, especially in the category of $400,000, but she explained to me that this on-demand contractor consultant was voted on sometime last year, I believe.
It was actually this year, Commissioner Goddard.
Was it this-
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but we have a lot of things go through this office that, and then they're not just back-to-back. Sometimes they're months apart. So I just wondered why, but I would like to ask the question, where did the $400,000 tag come from? Was it in the original
Yes.
vote?
Yes, Commissioner Goddard. So back on November 14th of 2021, the Board of Commissioners allocated funding for ARPA, and that was approved. In that amount was $400,000 was allocated for program management. As we know, Landmark was selected through the RFP process and subsequently approved by the Board of Commissioners. And so the reason why this is on the agenda today is because after our Finance Committee meeting yesterday, there was a unanimous concurrence to have a single view for the Board of Commissioners of all the funding sources, SPLOST, Reforecast, and ARPA. With that single view, that will allow the Board of Commissioners to make the best budgetary decisions by having all the funding sources available. So after the meeting, we thought it was best to bring forward this task order so that we can give the Board of Commissioners the best information by going ahead and engaging Landmark in the discussions as we reallocate ARPA funding. And we want to make sure that we do it correctly, and we want to make sure that we give you all the information, so when you're making your decisions, you've got everything in front of you, and it's been vetted not only by Landmark, but by our grants oversight manager, as well as our CFO and our overall grants management team. So that's why it's on the agenda today, because we wanted to make sure that you guys had everything in front of you, and we wouldn't be able to do that if we had to wait till the next meeting, because the final contract for Landmark, I believe, was finalized September 8th. So we're just getting around, after, negotiating with them about the task order, to getting the information. We just got this finished last night.
So in a nutshell, whatever.
Nutshell.
A nutshell, brain, you know what. But anyway, this is someone that's going to oversee the ARPA funding that we're going to be spending. Now, the ARPA fund is federal funds that came down in the amount of, over a period, 2-year period of $28 million. And so all these separate little projects and everything, the federal government requires all the dots to be the I's to be dotted and the T's to be crossed on it, or you can really get in trouble with it. So this firm is going to oversee all the filings that they have to do, anything that they have to do in order to move the projects forward. So the $400,000 was allocated in the ARPA funds, is that correct?
That's correct. In the allocation that the board made, we allocated $400,000 for program management.
Okay. So I didn't understand what it was because we didn't discuss it yesterday, so I spent several minutes on the phone with her for her to explain it to me, and I wanted to kind of explain it to the public because if they've been following what we did this week, it was not on the agenda yesterday, but it's on here as new business today. So, so I just wanted to have an explanation put out there for the public. Okay, so to alleviate any questions you might have about it. So with that, I yield back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Guider. Any other remarks, board?
Yes.
Okay, Vice Chairman Robinson, you have the floor.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments were made by Mr. Goddard for clarity, and thank you, Madam ACA, for expedience sake. And this was talked about in our Finance Committee. Very fluid time. This is once again back to history. Every 100 years you find yourself in a place like this. During the Great Recession, there was not a bailout of individual citizens. It's the banks. All right, so there's this round with this great, whatever we're going through, virus, they offered up money from the feds. And to Madam Guy's point, anybody who worked in the federal government, a couple of my colleagues out there who know this, who are regulators, say, yeah, y'all better be tight with this. They're not playing, they'll catch you later. You have to oversee federal money. A lot of times you hear people, especially I've heard our own narrative and our own conduct, we don't want that federal money because there's too many strings attached, too much. Well, it's just responsibility, that's all. You just got to be responsible with it, right? You just got it right. And so what we recognize is that when this came along, actually, to Madam Guy's point, only 100,000 was in last year when we first did this. And I said, y'all are out your mind. You cannot oversee this $28 million over 3 years with 100 grand. They allow you up to 10% for a grant administration. And so we kept, like, I'm trying to bring attention, like, no, that's not enough. We could have spent up to $2.8 million to oversee this. We're doing it for $400,000 in the first year. There's 2 more years of oversight, and we cannot miss with this money. You have to pay it back. Think about, we spend $28 million and you got to pay it back because you blew your financial guidelines. Can we take a $28 million hit? Do you know how serious this need is? So I'm glad it was brought forward because the point was to push, like, no, they need to pay attention. This wasn't slipping something through. Just like, pay attention. We don't have the expertise to handle this type of things. We now have Jill Hopkins. We're glad that she's here. Now she has an expert alongside of her. I mean, this is a lot of money coming down. They're like, okay, y'all asked for this. You better administer it right because they will catch you later. I'm sure you guys see them saying, okay, if we find out, we get in there. You can take serious hits. So thank you guys for considering this board being put on there. I didn't know it was coming up this meeting, but I do support that it being here. And so I yield the floor, Madam Chair, just for the record, that 400 is for the first year, and that there'll probably be more need. But again, we could have spent up to $2.8 million. They're saying we can do this probably at that rate, for about $1.2 million, $1.5 million. Pay attention. This is a lot of money, and we don't have the expertise to oversee it. But we're going to spend all this money. We're about to spend $28 million that has nothing to do with our $100 million budget. A quarter of it. Right? So think about it. It takes 1,200 people to manage $100 million. And we just got 28 more million. All right, it's about oversight. And so this was a good thing. Thank you, Madam ACA. This was important. I'm glad you took leadership. You owned this and you brought it forth and you did not wait. So, Madam Chair, I yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion, board members? Okay, being none, we have a motion and a second on the floor. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes. Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries to approve tab number 7. We're going to move on to tab number 8, which is a business item. And this item we need to untable. It came before the Board of Commissioners at our last meeting and we decided to table. So, Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to untable to consider an amendment to Section 10-19 Standards for Water Mains and Fire Hydrants of the Douglas County Code of Ordinance? Do we have a motion to untable?
So move.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I shouldn't ask that. We have a motion and a second. When I call your district, please respond accordingly. District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
Chairman, yes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote to untable, and the motion carries. All right, Board of Commissioners, I will read again and call the question. To consider an amendment to Section 10-19 Standards for Water Mains and Fire Hydrants of the Douglas County Code of Ordinance. Do we have a motion to approve?
Do what? Sorry?
Madam Chair, can you repeat it again? She couldn't.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, I'm calling the question. I'm saying, do we have a motion to approve or to consider an amendment to Section 10-19 Standards for Water Mains and Fire Hydrants of the Douglas County Code of Ordinances? Do we have a motion?
So move.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board?
It's listed further down.
Okay. What I'm going to do, I know I will allow some discussion from our field shaper who could maybe reiterate some things that happened yesterday at our meeting, just for public's sake and also for the Board of Commissioners' sake. You have the floor, Mr. Shaper.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mhm.
So in a nutshell, one of the questions that arose yesterday was the amount of discretion that already exists versus the discretion that's being sought this evening. The standard, Section 1019, Standards for Minimum Size Water Mains and Spacing of Fire Hydrants for All New Construction, is the title of this section of the Code of Ordinances. I'm going to read, there's an A, B, C, D section already in here that identifies what it is that everyone who's building new buildings has to go through with the fire marshal in order to be approved for construction. Section A is illustrative of what we were trying to get. In single-family residential subdivisions, if an adequate water supply is within 1,000 feet of the subdivision, the subdivider shall install or have installed a system of water mains and connections to each lot, which shall be in accordance with the adopted standards of the Water and Sewer Authority. Said water mains shall be at least 8-inch ductile iron pipe and be installed to provide a minimum water flow of 750 gallons per minute. Fire hydrants shall be located every 500 feet and or at every intersection, whichever is closer, three-way fire hydrants shall be used. There's a small amount of discretion in that. In the next section, there is also a small amount of discretion to the fire marshal as to the location of fire hydrants. And then in C, that deals with mobile home parks, there's some small amount of discretion there as well. What the fire marshal is asking for is a new section E, that in all of the above requirements in section 1019, in the event of any deviations are to be made, such requests shall be submitted and approved in writing by the fire chief and or his or her designee to allow for a specific project that has requested the use of C900 type PVC pipe instead of ductile iron pipe, which is what's identified in all of these sections A, B, C, D. And that would allow at least the project switch to move forward, which is a very large project in our county. As you asked Commissioner Mitchell before, is this going to trigger anything? Or should we look ahead to see, can this provide additional leeway if the fire marshal needed it? So to answer your question, this addition does allow for a certain amount of discretion in all of these sections. So if you had a fire hydrant that needed to be spaced 395 feet versus 400, you could have that small amount of discretion given the safety issues that would be accommodated by the fire marshal in reviewing the projects. This is specific, however, in his request to the use of plastic pipe as opposed to ductile iron pipe, which is hard to come by right now. And that was the purpose of trying to facilitate this amendment, was simply to give him a little bit of discretion over that one issue for this one project in the type of pipe being used. Does that help?
Yes. If the board did. Okay, any questions? Vice Chairman Robinson?
All right, so I think I get it. So again, one more time, so we went the long route with this. It sounded like we were trying to give more additional powers and additional extension for just one single project. And so I guess my question is, well, doesn't the board have the authority to make an exception that we control as a one-off, as opposed to giving discretion to someone like, okay, but what are you up to? Who's going to oversee to make sure that discretion does not get away from us? That's what I was looking for yesterday. And when I asked the state fire marshal, I mean, I appreciate his, look, that's your call. My job that it works, we get it, we understand, but okay, see, there's a difference between that it works and I can give approval for, okay, fine, it's a project. The board can override, it's the board, yeah, we can give it exception, somebody can check me if we choose to, in an exception. But to change the code and give additional powers, we changed the code to give this guy additional power for, I just didn't hear that. I'm okay. I'm gonna let y'all take the lead on this. I'm not opposed to it, but I got to where I want to. Why don't y'all just say that? That was for a single project. How many exceptions have we given to commercial development? As we're now going beyond trying to fundamentally change this guy's power, that means who controls that fire marshal in essence, like, I don't know about that. Why do we have to extend somebody's decision-making for something that's our responsibility? And how often does this happen? How often does this happen that it would be a burden for us to be able to deal with it? And I just didn't understand the motive behind it. But I'm not opposed. I just had to say my piece. I'm good, Madam Chair. I yield.
Okay. Any other discussion, board?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Guider?
Yes. Mr. Schaefer, the pipe is as strong as the other pipe that is normally used.
Yes, according to the fire marshal, the C900 pipe is, in fact.
Is it used in other counties or jurisdictions around
Yeah, so for the
Georgia?
public that did not hear yesterday's, yes, the fire marshal indicated that many counties around the state use this pipe, especially in areas where it's water prone. I learned that in the oil field. You don't put a lot of iron pipe in the middle of salt water. It corrodes.
But the fire marshal has a lot more training in this field than I do, I can assure you. And so I don't have any problem with giving the fire marshal the authority, because it's like going to the computer room and saying, hey, I need a program for such and such, because I can't write code. Yeah. So, but there's no danger to anybody, but the main reason this has been addressed now is because of the shortage of the other pipe.
That's correct.
And we can always go back if the shortage goes away, I guess.
And I think that kind of was the implication from the fire marshal himself, was that the chief said, this is a project, but when the actual supply chain starts to work itself out, I imagine he'll not allow anything but ductile iron.
We're having to rethink a lot of things just because of shortages. Yeah. And so I don't have any problem giving the authority to an expert, because I'm not the expert. And we do that with a lot of things. A lot of directors have to make a decision that we don't have to vote on. That's just bureaucracy, I guess. But anyway, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in and let the public know that there's no danger from, if we proceed with this, to the public or to property, I guess.
And that was what the chief reported yesterday, and that was what the fire marshal himself reported, that this pipe is safe and that it's used around the state already and has been used safely for many, many decades.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to hear because it's been proven to be sufficient and adequate for what it's used for. So with that, I yield back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Guider. Any other discussion, board?
Just one, Madam Chair. And-
Commissioner Mitchell?
And thank you, Mr. Schaefer, for answering my questions and job well done. Just for clarity, so the general public will understand, is that once, if this passes, the fire marshal will have the discretion as to when and when not to use. It won't be just for this project. It'll be moving forward, period.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. So I just want to make sure, because we kind of saying it like it's for this project. Yes, it's about the supply and demand is what the problem is trying to get the supplies of the ductile piping, so I get that. And right now, we need to get this other project, Silver, moving. Okay, but just so we're clear, for clarity though, this will be the the fire marshal's sole discretion as to when and when not this.
Over all of these items, he will have some amount of discretion to say, this is safe, this is not, and allow it.
Correct. And it's not just this project.
Not just this project.
Just want to make sure. Okay, thank you very much. And thanks for the clarity. I yield.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Schaefer. Great job. Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second on the floor. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes. Okay, Board of Commissioners, we have a 4-1 vote, and the motion carries. Thank you. All right, the motion carries on tab number 8, Board of Commissioners. We're going to move on to our consent agenda. Board of Commissioners, please be mindful or reminded that all items are subject to final legal review, and our Deputy Clerk will read the consent agenda tonight. Deputy Clerk Sherry Mathis, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Number 9, authorization to apply for the fiscal year 23 Solid Waste Trust Fund Grant Program in the amount of $116,000 with no match required to be used to fund equipment for the recycling program, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Number 10, authorization to accept DHS grant for Baby Step Safe Care Coordinator in the amount of $75,008.92 with no match required, and continue the employee contract for Ashley Perry. Amend the budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents subject to final legal review. Number 11, authorization to apply for the Georgia Department of Natural Resources 2022-2023 Outdoor Stewardship Grant in the amount of $500,000 with a match of 25%, which is $125,000 of the total project cost as recommended by the Parks and Recreation Oversight Committee, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Number 12, authorize the chairman to execute a part-time employment agreement with Jonathan Steele as part-time assistant solicitor in the Traffic Unit Division to fill a vacancy subject to final legal review. Number 13, approval of juvenile court attorney contract with Jana Evans to fill the unexpired term of Robert Kuntz from September 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents subject to final legal review. Number 14, approval of name changes for 2 employee car allowance agreements for Laura Lukert and Alexandria Clark in the amount of $9,600, which is $4,800 each, to be funded through the previously approved 2022 budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Number 15, certificate of preliminary plat approval for Fairhaven subdivision located in District 2. Number 16, proposed annexation from the City of Douglasville for parcel ID number 015802500073 west of Bright Star at Bright Star Connector. Number 17, authorization to purchase a 2023 Ford Explorer SUV for Parks and Recreation Department at state contract pricing at a total cost of $41,078 to be funded through the 2016 SPLOST funds allocated for equipment and recommended by the Parks and Recreation Oversight Committee. Number 18, request for authorization to advertise for request for proposal for a new backup E911 facility. Number 19, request for authorization to advertise for a request for proposal for a new coroner facility. Number 20, authorization to utilize 2016 SPLOST reimbursable funds in the total amount of $1,122,624 to purchase 2 tanker trucks at $561,312 each under a cooperative purchase agreement to provide service to the east and west rural areas of Douglas County, as well as the I-20 corridor, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents subject to final legal review.
Thank you so much, Deputy Clerk Matthews. Board of Commissioners, that concludes our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on any items? Vice Chairman Robinson, you have the floor.
All right. I just want to, again, I'm glad to hear, I was with a Citizens yesterday, one of my listening posts, and they work for another jurisdiction as relates to fire. And I'm like, okay, so what is a pumper truck? What are these trucks? And they did a great job of explaining to me what they meant and how important they are and the gallons and stuff. And so one of the things I try to do is, while I do believe in experts, I also believe about like getting second opinions. Never be beholden to anybody with total knowledge, ever, if you sit in my seat. Like, I got to balance this thing. So I appreciate getting that lesson on it, so I do support that. I'm glad of what it means, and I'm not quite certain what east and west rural is, but I'm glad that y'all got that worked out where it needs to be. That's not my issue. So what I want to talk about is come back to the corner. You know, I'm going to let that go. Now, again, I won't make it tough, but I had to come back to, well, what's really, really needed? And there's so much, I'm like, what is the issue? What is the hard up on the corner in that function? That narrative did not exist prior to the shift. I watched from 16 to 22 a march on a young lady that did work back to women. It was unacceptable to me. It's bullyish. Just bully. What you don't need. It's about control. I get the control narrative coming from where it comes from. But some of it is just it's from a dark place. And you get this side of me like, no. It's misplaced. So we can spend $150 million to give 700 inmates, no more than $650 if I'm not right, my aide when we met with the sheriff. $650 on average, $150 million. Now I can do a per capita on that. I can spend $5 million on 80 cats and dogs, a Taj Mahal animal shelter. Oh boy. But yet there's a concern and it's just, I get it. But think about it. But then for the people that you're going to be laying on that table one day, your friends, and I'm listening to the people, and like, and for my seniors, listen to what they're saying, like, okay, you're not worthy of a little, like, okay, just throw some 10, I mean, listen to you. It's so dishonorable. There's better political narratives you can do than to try to pick on that mortality. About how we treat, like when you're done, just throw them over the back wall. I'm sitting here, I've had relatives, like, No. No, build another argument. I get that we'd rather spend it over here versus that, but just what you're saying, it's like, really? Oh, they got 9 corner cars of deputies, like, really? Uh-huh. But they're per transport. So it's a false narrative. Like, if you're going to argue, become more correct with the math. Because it's like, but you're knocking down a person. You're being injurious and violent in your words. There's been nothing like, I'm very open if you want to bring something. I agreed with Mike Mulcair when he said it was too far to go all the way over there to Hollowell. Like, no, Mike, I get it. I'm going that way, but you got a good point. That is too much. So there is sensibility here. It's not all dogmatic. But some of the narrative is just so, it's attacking people like, no, I'm built for it. I get stronger from it. It doesn't bother me. Don't get it twisted. It doesn't. It makes me like, okay, it gets stronger like the Hulk. Like, no, it just gets stronger. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But some of the things you do against your own neighbors, and again, we ain't been here nothing but a second. And all things that have been written, life is a gift. It's back to what we're talking about, the corner. Life is a gift. Can we do something honorable at the end just to make sure, like, okay, it's serious? Oh, we want to honor. We got the fire chief coming this Friday in District 2, and we're going to shoot the hose, and we're going to wash it down. And the care and the stuff that we're talking about, and all the pumping stands for a truck, which is honorable. But yet I get this narrative that says, but the person, the humanity is, throw it back. That I cannot accept. And as long as I sit here on this dais, I will always counter a narrative that just sort of has, it doesn't have any human dignity to it. I cannot. We can do better than that. It's not that somebody's less than. Like, just come with a better argument. But we don't have to put each other down or put another person down and trying to do a service that, like, you don't have to attack the person. Just deal with the math. All right, Madam Chair, I had to do that because, again, I think it's necessary. Again, we know we sold that building to make accommodation for the city, but to make a person feel like y'all shouldn't spend no money over here, we need to, like, really? And you really believe it, though. And so then I have to respect the First Amendment. Say, okay, but there's 34,999 people I got to go listen to. So I do listen. Please don't get it wrong. It ain't like that we're not listening. But everybody don't believe in that way. We have to sit there, the 5 of us have to sit over 142,000 people and determine what the voices that we hear collectively. Right? That's how democracy works. Y'all gave us the honor to make a decision on behalf of. No one person can put their finger and say, you need to do, like, okay, back up now. You're crossing the line, right? That's the bully. That's like, and most of us know better than that, but I had to say it for the record. But nevertheless, I made my point, Madam Chair, this is consent, so ain't nothing I can do here. I yield.
Okay. Any other discussion, board? Okay. If there's, okay, Commissioner Guider, you have the floor.
James, would you please come forward? Don't worry, I'm not going to undermine a grand jury report about anything, so. I don't like the implication that everything is racial. A grand jury of very diverse people did bring some charges against her, and that she just started out on the wrong foot because of that. But James, we're looking at replacing a building for the coroner.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to be going to other facilities around the state to see and talking to people that have gone through the construction of a facility for a coroner, and to determine what is needed, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So we're not going to build a Taj Mahal or anything. We're going to replace the building. We're going to use the funds where we sold the old building, the $750,000, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You've put it in a pot and you're saving it to apply to this job. And then you also have some ARPA funds.
That's correct.
And so all total, you're going to have about 1.2 million?
1.25, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're talking about, well, we don't know what it's going to cost until we decide how big of a facility it's going to be. So you would just estimate, and I think, in the work session and everything.
That's
But
correct.
we all know that we have to have a coroner's office. We all know that. We just want it to be run, professionally. We want her to have the best equipment and vehicles that are needed. So there's no argument about that. But we do remember that there was a grand jury report too. So, but anyway, you're going to be very diligent about this. You're going to be very conservative about it. So we don't know yet how much it's going to cost, but we're just replacing a facility that was sold, and we're using that money to apply to this new project. So with that, I will yield back. And I thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Guido, for yielding back. And thank you so much, Managing Director Worthington. Okay, no, thank you. No, I was just thanking you.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and just certainly reiterating that the coroner's office, we're just not just being frivolous. We have to move out of that building. It's been sold to the city for $750,000. We have some ARPA funding. I'm just trying to put it out for perspective. No, ma'am. No, we're not. Ma'am, I can't answer your question right now. Point of order. We are in question. Okay. Board of Commissioners, certainly we have a motion and a second on the floor for this consent agenda. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to approve the consent agenda. Board of Commissioners, thank you so much. Board of Commissioners, we have the approval of expenses. You've had an opportunity to review your expenses. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes for your expenses. We have a 4-1 vote, and the motion carries. Okay?
No.
Hmm?
One thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lisa, could you pull it back up? I'm sorry. I thought I saw you have an abstain. Is it a?
Should be.
One abstain.
Okay, I didn't see that. I apologize. We have four yeses and then one abstain. Yeah, 401. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't see it. My glasses didn't pick up abstain. All right, Board of Commissioners, next we have before us our announcements. Certainly want to yield to each one of you to allow you to, if you want to shed some light on your upcoming events, this is certainly the time to do so. Vice Chairman Robinson, you have the floor.
Yeah, I'll yield to whoever's going to read the announcements tonight. But I do want to just acknowledge September Saturdays last weekend. I thought it was a great crowd, great experience. I want to thank staff, Madam Chair, Tiffany Stewart Stanley and her staff, Rick and Wendy, and all those who were involved in this. It was great. And the biggest experience for me was those vendors. They were pleased. Double the crowd that we had last year. I think the teacher, obviously, I always look forward to the receiving line and stuff. Thank you for the tent, because it gets hot out there. But the temperature held, and it was a great experience. You can feel the vibe. Again, all I can do is feel the vibe and listen. But I went on to all the booths. I didn't have booths like my colleagues because they were in a different mode. But I had booth duty, and I had to go around and see the various vendors in booths. And it was just very good. And I mean, it's always a great experience. And I think we're on, our 18th, Madam Chair? Something like that. And it is something that's important to us, so I look forward to next weekend and stuff. So this past weekend was about heroes. Well done, staff. I think you guys pulled it off, and I hope that, I trust that next Saturday will be just as good. Madam Chair, thank you for that. I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other announcements, Board? Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes, I'll cover, because my legislative aide will not probably come up here and do this, so I guess I'll take this one. So I'd like for you guys to join me, and I'm partnering with a local organization in Douglas County to support caregivers, survivors, and those who have lost loved ones from that battle of cancer. And I, too, as a prostate cancer survivor, have teamed up and joined with the Relay for Life family on Sunday, October 9th. Mark your calendars and join me at the Douglas County High School on the track field as we walk a 1.2 or 5-mile walk. That'll be 8705 Camilton Street, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. We'll start about 4 o'clock. We've got a long, pretty healthy program that we'll have. And for those of you who kind of battled that C word that we all, it's devastating to a lot of our families. So join us, Relay for Life, on Sunday, October 9th, 4 o'clock. Come join us and partake in that. Also, I will be doing my coffee and conversation at True Bliss Salt Cave and Spa in downtown Douglasville on Saturday, October 1st from 10 until 12 noon. So come join us. There's a lot going on in District 1. And for those of you who would like to come and hang out with me during my coffee and conversation, it's not district related. It's for those of you who would like to come out and have many conversations. We'll be talking about the budget that's up and coming and talk about the up and coming potential SPLOST and a whole lot of other things. So it's wide open. I provide the coffee, you provide the conversation. So come join me, and that's what I've got in announcements. And thank you again, Ms. Sherrill. Thank you. All right.
Thank
I
you.
yield.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other discussion?
He's good at that. He
Okay.
should always do announcements.
Yeah, he's an announcer. Okay, if no further announcements from Board of Commissioners, we have our Constituent Services Coordinator that will be presenting the announcements tonight, Mrs. Wendy Cottle. Thank you so much for being here, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Board of
evening.
Commissioners. Good evening, Madam Assistant County Administrator, County Clerk Deputy, and our County Attorney, and of course, our citizens. The Vice Chairman and District 2 Commissioner Kelly G. Robinson and Fire Chief Jolivet will host a wet down program and official push-in service at Station 6, located at Palmer Village in Tributary, 2230 Riverside Parkway, Douglasville, 30135. That's on Friday, September 23rd at 2 p.m. Again, that's this Friday, September 23rd at 2 p.m. The 20th Annual September Saturdays Festival, presented by Douglas County and Georgia's Own Credit Union, will continue on this Saturday, September 24th. The theme is Family Fun Day and County Services Showcase. It will be held on the grounds of the Douglas County Courthouse at 8700 Hospital Drive. Non-food vendor and exhibitor registration is now open, and over 100 vendors and exhibitors are anticipated for the largest annual festival in Douglas County. So if you are a vendor, it is not too late. Please go to Celebrate Douglas County, our website, for information about how you can register and participate in the event. The Office of Constituent Services is conducting a citizen experience survey to assess our citizens' satisfaction. The surveys are available on all of our social media platforms and the county website. You can go there. It'll take you about 2 minutes to complete, and we would really love your feedback. It helps us get better at serving our citizens. The probate court will be open on Saturday, December 3rd. Please check the probate court website for more information. The Douglas County Fire Department and the Georgia Department of Public Health have partnered to offer COVID-19 PCR testing at a kiosk located just outside Douglas County Fire Headquarters at 12501 Veterans Memorial Highway. Free COVID testing is being offered at Deer Lick Park Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. For more information, you can visit douglasvillecovid.com. That's douglasvillecovid, one word, .com. For COVID-19 information, you may also call the call center at 1-833-974-3366. That's 1-833-974-3366. Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield.
Thank you so much. Wendy Cottle, thank you so much, our Constituent Services Coordinator, for bringing forth our announcements tonight. Board of Commissioners, do we have any other business to come before this body? If there's no other business to come before this body, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.